name is Jaden Mathenge, and I'll be carrying you through the JKUAT assignment, the JKUAT Kipchoge assignment, where he runs through nearby the library and ICAD and goes to SCIT. So, as you can see from the screen above, I've already modeled part of the road slide representing the structure, so I'll mouse over, but the webcam is going off for now. This is just to prove that it is me presenting, so it'll go off. So to start, as you can see, the roads have been modeled. So the texture that I used was a root texture. So in in render view, it should display. There's a root texture. So starters, this is from, like, each road has its origin point. So it starts off with the road from ICAD. So ICAD in the library would be around here. This is the road to, obviously, to the main junction, where this would lead you to labs or the innovation center, and this would lead you to the hostels. This would lead you to, obviously, the assembly hall, CLB, and the original this second administration block. The first administration block is around this stretch, and then obviously there's a mini road. There's a building here, but when there's meant to be a building here, but when what's it called? And actually, like, inserting buildings, I did not include that, so I replaced it with a section of trees here in exchange for implementing a Bezier curve here, like specifically for the road, like to bend the road texture to give the feeling of the corner that you usually take when going to SEC, obviously. Then SEC itself would be located here. So yeah, this is just a showcase of the roads. Then next we should obviously add the buildings and the terrain surrounding them, say the grass, the dirt roads, specifically like the one going from the library to the pavilion that usually goes here. So I'll do that in a second. As you can see, terrain has been implemented. So generally, JKUAT is grassy, but with a fair amount of paved roads. But since we're focusing on the library to, like, the Kipchoge run from the library to ICAD, not ICAD, SCAT, I've opted to, like, just generalize it with a grassy texture, but I'll pretty it up with trees onwards. So to represent some of the hedges that we usually have in school on the way, I used, like, grass of a slightly higher height and darker texture. And the blank here is meant to be like the location of the gate from ICAD and the ICAD itself alongside the library, whereas the other buildings are situated on top of these grassy textures. So ideally we'd have a runner jogger starting from here, running all the way through, like, past the library, which is highlighted by this path, or this hedged path. Then past all that, past the first administration block, and past the small pavilion, like where in our first years we went to get our pictures, like ID pictures taken. And then we'd have a second administration block. Then you'd run past it, take a corner here, take another corner here, and then arrive at SCIT, which will be situated here, and a fair amount of trees here. Now, as for Spider-Man, he'd be situated on this side instead. So Spider-Man will be jumping off from a drone that's situated on top of here and landing on the, like, specifically on the road to ICAD, marked by the hedges. So, as well as sunlight, we had to include sunlight and ambient occlusion. So for, like, a 3 p.m. ish feel, obviously sun has to be stronger, so increase the strength to 3 and change the angle to 30. So for like, so shadows will be at a different angle. And obviously, when setting it up, I'll set up softer shadows. So next is the buildings themselves. Then I believe I should be Kipchoge, then Spider-Man last. So now we have our buildings and explain which building is which in a way it represents on the actual map, like JKUAT scale. So start up, we have the library plus iCard. So they usually joined it together, even in the actual representation of the school. So obviously, generally, not just anyone can enter iCard, so it's manned by a gate. And considering, besides adding edges, you could add a fence to prevent general entry. So the fence is there. Then the road from iCard joins over with the road to the library and to JKUAT in general. So here we have the first administration block. Here we have the dirt road that leads to the pavilion, but I couldn't find an appropriately scaled pavilion, so I went for a small one. But this is, it took creative liberties, but it's meant to represent the pavilion. Then this is meant to be the assembly hall. Obviously, there is usually a bit of space where the trees and grass grow, so I'll adjust for that. But this is where that assembly hall is meant to be. Then this is the second administration block. So as I said before, Kipchoge will do the one from here all the way through the other buildings, showcasing shadows and all. And finally, he'll make a few corners and make it to SEC. The model used is 2 floors high to present how high the actual size of SEC, which is 2 floors. It's lacking the general auditorium-esque hall, but I believe it's an apt enough replacement for SAT, sorry. So now all you're left with majorly is just adding, like, making it look a bit better through trees, uh, no, then adding Kipchoge and animating him running throughout all the buildings, and maybe improving shadows of the buildings. So I'll do that next. Now we have a few trees, like generally should look a bit better. And now we have a start to show who is Kipchoge. Uh, so for his animations, I used a website called Mixamo by Adobe to edit, where you insert a model like a T-posing, let's say a T-posing model, and they rig it for you, and you can assign it animation. So I assigned it a running model, a running animation. So, and generally, since my road is not like generally straight, I can't just simply just say take take his current orientation and press I, and just simply just go straight forward and press I again. So I've had to make multiple keyframes of him in the same position, like currently running straight. It has follows. So like, say I would do this. His current keyframe is this at an angle of 380. So I'd move him forward a bit, then readjust him so that he stays on his path. Then insert the second keyframe, say at second R frame 20. Rinse repeat until I got to a point where we had a somewhat straight road. So as for corners, say around frame 175. Frame 175. So as for corners, we just had to adjust his orientation on the z-axis. So say you want him to take this corner. So generally, he's currently at an angle of 3 on the z-axis. So we push him, increasing like the z angle. So it would be around 410. So say take frame. Yeah, take frame 187. It's the z angle is slightly increasing, so he's making the turn as we speak. There. So since he's making a left turn, the z angle increased, and then we take this other right turn where we'd have to decrease the z angle, but since it's a sharper turn, we do it in a much greater margin. So when it gets to around frame 229, we start decreasing the z angle so as to show him taking the corner. So 438, 427, 420. The z angle keeps on decreasing as he takes the corner. Once again, since it's a right turn, the z angle will keep on decreasing till he makes it there. So each time I decrease the angle, I inserted the keyframe by eye, just like I did in the previous video. So yeah, he's made it to the SCAT. So now, in order to make the key, like the frames of him taking corners and him running, I had to loop the set of keyframes given by Mixamo. So this is the resultant animation, after which we'll showcase Spider-Man jumping off from the drone in iCard, alongside him running, alongside Kipchoge running. So I'll just switch to top-down view, zoom in a bit. So when you click the spacebar to play, albeit at a lower frame rate, it should showcase him, the model moving. If we zoom in a bit closer and change our orientation a bit, should see the animation of the guy running. There's the corner. There's the final corner, and he's made it to SCAT, sorry. So yeah, that's for Kipchoge, and now we have to deal with Spider-Man. So in which case I'd have to add a drone model, which was provided by Blender Kit, thankfully, and a Spider-Man model. So initially I had ripped from a game that I play constantly called Marvel Rivals, but it proved a bit difficult because it had too much rigging, to do. So I used Maximo again with a model from Sketchfab, which will be linked in the description, and then I'll showcase the drone as it functions. So here we have a model of Spider-Man and the drone. So the drone, as we said, was provided by Blender Kit, and Spider-Man model will be referenced in the description. So like with Mixamo, you could create a set of frames of him jumping off, like jumping with a roll. So ideally, like it isn't exactly a superhero landing, but it's apt to how Spider-Man's agility. It's an apt showcase of Spider-Man's agility. So there was a running, like a jump with a rollover animation, which is what I used here. I modified the keyframes a bit to showcase like him jumping off from a higher height, because the exam animations are on ground level. So alongside Kipchoge running, there's Spider-Man jumping off the drone right now. So here it is. We can keep progress. We can keep progress of Kipchoge as he runs, but I think my frame rate is a bit too low to allow me to move around as freely as I'd like. As shown before, Kipchoge does successfully make it to SAT, irrespective of whether the Spider-Man is here or not. Just pause it as a precaution. And showcase Kipchoge is already there. Yeah, and that should be it for the second assignment, detailing a very unique experiment. So that should be all. Thank you. In a different world, not as clear, we can at least try showcasing the camera view of Spidey jumping off and Kipchoge running. So it would be as this. The render would be as such, but I'm not sure if the my system is capable of setting up a render right now. Let me try. But as you can see, Spider-Man successfully jumps off. Yeah, sorry. And, animation control F12. Now we can test and see whether it renders successfully. As you can see, it's rendering a bit slow, but everything is present. The trees have softer shadows because it's a bit later in the day. So does Kipchoge, and so does the drone. So I think it'll take too long. So I'll just wrap it up here.